Hello YouTube, it has been a hot minute since I've made a video, but I missed making these for fun, so I am back. A lot has happened in the last 6 months, 5 months, we'll just say 6 months, in the last 6 months, so I am very excited to update you guys on what's been going on lately, and I can show you the project that I'm working on right now that I will be working on throughout this chat and craft. So if you want to stick around, let's get into it. Alright, so in the last 6 months, I have actually been working really hard on my crochet skills, and the project that I'm working on right now is making a large round blanket, and I will admit it's not the most perfect thing in the world. If anyone can please help me and tell me how to get rippling out of a circle project, I would be very grateful, because I don't know how to get it out, and I've been trying to get it out for the last however long I've been working on this project. But it's massive, and I'm very happy with the progress that I've made on it so far, so let me show you what it looks like. Alright, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me, but I just want to show you how big this blanket is. So this is what I've got so far. It's a huge circle blanket. I've been working on it for a while. If you can see what I'm talking about, there's like this rippling in it, and I don't know how to get it out. Like, you can kind of see it here. It's kind of hard to see when I have it all stretched out, but whenever I lay it flat, you can see it. I have not added any more increases to this thing. I've just been doing the normal rounds, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get the ripples out. So if anyone can please tell me how to do it, I would be so grateful, because I really don't care if it's ripply in the end, but I would really like for this to be as flat as possible. So if anyone has any insight on that, I would be very grateful. But yeah, I'm super happy with the progress. I love the colors that I've chosen for this. I really enjoy the neutral tones in this project. I'm not really a neutral tone kind of person, but I know that I want to use this eventually, like when I go to the beach or something like that, so I really enjoy the neutral tones. Plus this kind of reminds me of I don't know, an ombre coffee theme kind of, like the dark brown, the beige, and the white, and then just alternating the colors. I love it, and I think it's great, and I'm happy with the progress. But this is what we're going to be working on while we do our chat and craft today. I have so much I need to update you guys on. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so basically the biggest update I need to give you guys is what I have been up to work-wise. I know in my last daily vlog that I made, I kind of showed my daily routine. That is so different now. It is not the same at all. So yeah, let me just update you on that. Before we get into that, I'm just going to explain what I'm doing on my project. Essentially, I'm just doing double crochets all the way around here, and I am using a 6mm hook. I was using a 5mm hook for this project, but because I was trying to get the rippling out of the blanket, I decided to go up a hook size. So yeah, that's just what I'm doing. I'm just double crocheting this whole project. I was switching patterns. I was gonna do this granny square stitch kind of thing throughout the blanket, where I was gonna do the double crochets, alternate to the granny square stitch, and then switch back to the double crochets. But I've learned that I really enjoy just how the double crochet style looks. So that's just what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the blanket. Plus, I don't mind the just one random line of stitching that is different than the rest. So I'm not going to be doing anything special. It's literally just going to be double crochet. So we're going to be doing that while we're talking today. Since the last time I made a video about work, I was just working overnight at the hotel that I'm employed at, and I was working at the shoe store. I unfortunately no longer work at the shoe store because I got a promotion at the hotel, so yay. I do miss working at the shoe store, and I miss my coworkers. Shout out Emily, I know that she was in a couple of my videos. We'll see her again someday, I know we will. I no longer work at the shoe store. I only work at the hotel now. I did get promoted. I am now a front office supervisor, which is a part of the management team, which I'm very proud of myself for getting that promotion. But because I did get promoted, it kind of took up a lot of my time, and I just was unable to keep the second job, even though, you know, I really enjoyed having the second source of income, especially because, you know, I'm saving for the wedding and things like that. We are now only working at one job, and with the promotion I did get a pay raise, so that has kind of made up for the fact that I don't have that extra source of income anymore. But I do miss it. I miss working at the shoe store. It was a lot of fun, and, you know, obviously I enjoyed the people I worked with too. I'm just gonna move this down a little bit so that way you guys can see, just because the blanket's a little heavy, so it's hard for me to hold it up while I'm talking. But that should be good. We're just not gonna be able to see my cool little neon sign up there, but we all know what it says. It says feel good. It's really the big update as far as work-wise. So I no longer do the overnight shifts. I'm only working during the day, which has been nice as far as sleep schedule goes. I mostly work the evening shifts now, though. So my shifts typically look like working from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Every now and then I'll have like a midday shift. Like today I worked 9 to 5, which was nice. But it's usually 3 to 11 now. I do enjoy that I have been working more of the evening shifts, and because it is still considered the slow season right now, a lot of hours have been cut. Because hours have been cut, I, you know, have been able to keep more consistent weekly hours. I know that everyone else on my team kind of got cut a little bit because we are a little bit slower, so labor is just really high. But because now I am considered part of the management team, I have been able to keep my hours, so I am thankful for that. I am really looking forward to the busy season, though, just so that way everyone can start working again, because it has been very quiet, and, you know, I kind of miss working with my other coworkers during the day. Aside from work, because that has been keeping me pretty busy, I'm going to admit that 2025 has started off real rocky for me. I don't know about anyone else, but it has been rough so far. So we did start the new year on a positive note. I did actually get my fiance a kitten for Christmas. We had been talking about having another little fur baby for a while. I'm pretty sure I've talked about my other two cats in a previous video, but if I haven't, we already had my two cats, which their names are Chubby and Vincent. Chubby is my oldest. She's going to be 16 this year. Vincent is the second oldest. He is going to be 5 this year. And now our newest addition is Stash. He is around 5 to 6 months old, so he was a baby whenever we got him around Christmas time. So on a positive note, we did add a small little baby to our family, which has been great. He is in his terrible toddler phase right now, so he's tearing up everything, but he's a baby. That's what they're supposed to do. If I'm able to, I'll go ahead and add some pictures of the fur babies. I might add them in, like, after I, you know, talk about them for a minute. First, we have Chubby. And then we have Vincent. And then our newest addition, Stash. I went through an adoption shelter that my place of employment actually partners with. They're a really, really good shelter. They take really good care of their animals. And with adopting Stash, I learned that they actually have a very thorough adoption process, which it took a while to get approved for the adoption, but honestly, I think that's fantastic. I'm glad that it took as long as it did, because it shows me that they really care about where their rescued animals go. And Stash, he was a bottle baby, so we adopted him from foster mom just a few days after New Year. I got approved for the adoption before Christmas, but because he was so young, we had to wait for him to get his neuter and vaccines done. So I just surprised my fiance on Christmas Day with a little box, I put a whole bunch of kitten stuff in it, like kitten food, toys, things like that, and a little envelope with his picture in it that said, "Hi Mom, I'll be home after New Year's, Merry Christmas." And it was just a cute little picture of him with his mouth open and stuff. So that was a positive note. That was a good thing that started out 2025. We went into the new year with a new baby. Paige was super happy about the new baby that we had. And everything was going good after New Year's, honestly. We got to pick up Stash on the 3rd of January, I believe. And, it took a minute, of course, for the other cats to get adjusted to him. But after, a week, they, weren't even bothered that he was here. Now, this is kind of where things start to go downhill a bit. Basically, I had to replan my entire wedding at the very beginning of January. What originally first happened was I got a call from the venue place where we're planning on doing where we were planning on doing our main ceremony and pictures and stuff. It's like an outdoor gazebo that we rented. They called me and said, "Hey, we made a mistake. We essentially triple booked the same date that you guys booked, and we now have to give you a capacity limit to ensure that you're in and out within your time frame." We only had the gazebo booked for an hour anyways, but they said that we could take up to 2 hours if needed for pictures and the full ceremony and stuff. But now that we had this capacity limit and time limit, we were not able to take up that time like we want. So I was already stressing about that. And then I had a family situation come up to where I had to fly down to Texas for a week, which that was also unexpected. I won't get into too much detail on that, but basically I had to go take care of something down in Texas. Obviously I'm in New Jersey, so I had to very quickly tell my manager, "Hey, I need to fly down to Texas for a week. Could I please have the time off? It got approved, whatever." I flew down there. So while I'm down there trying to deal with the family thing, I'm also trying to deal with the whole venue gazebo thing. Because in their contract, they said that if, things don't work out between the venue and the party who's renting it, they have every right to, cancel your booking at their venue. I didn't want to cause any trouble. I didn't want to risk losing that deposit money that we had spent booking this gazebo. So I just was like, okay, we'll figure something out. Thanks for letting me know. So I'm trying to figure that out, right? I'm dealing with my family thing, trying to figure out this gazebo thing, and then I end up coming back home because I, took care of everything I need to take care of. I flew back home, whatever, everything's all fine and dandy. I then go back to work, and I am in the middle of my shift, and my fiance calls me, and they're like, "Hey, I don't really know what to do, but something has come up and we need to figure something out." And I'm like, okay. First thing you should know is that my fiance never calls me when I'm at work. So I knew that it was something important. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And they said the restaurant that we're supposed to have our reception dinner at after our ceremony has permanently closed. No one told us that this restaurant closed. So I am sitting there and I'm like, "Please tell me that you're joking." And they're like, "No, I'm not joking. I just drove past it with my dad and it's permanently closed." It closed back in October. It is now January. No one has told us that this place closed. We booked our reception dinner thing for June, this June. We booked all that in I think I want to say July of last year, so pretty much a year in advance before the wedding, we had it already booked. This place closed in October and no one told us anything. And because this place had closed, it now had a new owner. It was basically a brand new restaurant. A new owner had come in, ripped apart the old restaurant and made a new restaurant. Because that old owner was no longer there, we could not get our deposit back. And so I don't even really care about the deposit. I'm mostly just freaking out because now we don't have a restaurant for our reception. And so now I don't know what to do. So basically, I decided to do damage control like right away, just because I am such a chronic planner. I like immediately jumped into action. I called the new owner and basically explained what was happening, and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you know, I'll be honest, you are not the first person who has called me regarding this kind of situation. We have had other like grooms and brides and things like that call and explain that the old owners never reached out to them to give them back their deposit. So that's fantastic. He said that he would pass our information to his attorney to give to their attorney to try and get our deposit back. We haven't heard anything. I have just accepted that we've just lost our money for that. I don't really think it's worth the time or energy to try and like sue the previous restaurant for that money. To me, it's just not worth the energy, and it's just going to cost more money in the long run. So to me, it just doesn't matter. That happened, and so I'm like explaining to him like what's going on, seeing what we could do if we decide to do our reception at his restaurant. And, you know, he's like, well, there's no way I can match the price that you guys were going to get at the old restaurant, because this restaurant had gone from something like more casual to something that was super fancy, super expensive, and way out of our budget. So, you know, even though he was kind enough to try and like accommodate us, it just wasn't something that was going to work out just because it was so expensive. And as I said in a previous video, I feel like wedding prices are a scam. Even though he wasn't like charging us more just because it was for a wedding, he just naturally already had more expensive prices, which is fine. I mean, it was an upscale restaurant now, so like it just matched the menu and it just was out of our budget. So I'm trying to do damage control, and I immediately set up a meeting with some of my coworkers at the hotel that I work at because we host events. And I like send an email and I'm like,
I need help. I'm having a wedding catastrophe. I need some sort of help, please.
So they go ahead and set up a meeting with me. Luckily, we figured out a plan B. We're not doing our big ceremony anymore. We're pretty much only going to do a reception. Pei and I are pretty much going to do just like a very small, like private thing together for like a ceremony. And we're going to do, you know, of course, the wedding certificate and things like that. But we're pretty much just going to do a reception at the hotel that I work at. We, you know, were able to set up like a private area to have for ourselves for a few hours. And we wanted a non-traditional wedding anyways. So, I mean, it works out in the long run, honestly. So we're going to do that. I think it's going to be great. It's only a few months away. So I'm, you know, still a little stressed, but I can't help it. It's just because I'm a planner. But I am really excited that the wedding is coming up so soon. I'm actually working on my wedding dress right now. I only have to sew on a couple more things and then it's finished, and I'll obviously like show that at some point. But yeah, so that stressed me out. I think I was stressed for like 3 days. I replanned the whole wedding pretty much in 3 days. Thank God I'm able to do damage control because I was panicking. Pei was really panicking. And hopefully it'll go exactly how we want. It sounds like it's going to go how we want. We are going to actually save some money now that the plans have changed. But yeah, that was stressing me out. Then after that, see, I'm not even crocheting. I'm just going over everything. Then after that, I got sick. And I got really sick. Like I was sick for like, I want to say a week, 2 weeks. No, more like a week. I was sick for a week, so I had to miss a whole bunch of work because I got sick after all of that. I don't know if it's just because I was stressed and it was like me like having like stress sickness or something, but I was sick. I had to miss work. I was, you know, worried about missing work because obviously I'm trying to like save up money for the wedding, save up as much vacation time as possible. And then after I was done being sick and, you know, figuring out everything for the wedding, because we did have to shorten our guest list quite a bit just because the plans did change. So I was already, like, still stressing about that, still, you know, already worrying about that. I then want to do things that would make me feel better. So I decided to start going to the gym and essentially, like, focusing on me. And it was good. Like, I was, you know, pretty consistent. I was going all the time. And then, on my way to the gym one day, my car breaks down on the side of the road. Mind you, we're not even in February yet at this point. I think we're at, like, the very end of January, so almost February, but still, like, this is besides the point. So my car breaks down on the side of the road. And I, of course, like, I've pretty much hit my limit. I'm, like, pissed that my car broke down on the side of the road. I don't know what's wrong with my car. I, didn't have any indicators beforehand that my car was going to break down. Like, usually if you pay attention, your car, like, shows signs that something's wrong with it. Nothing. My car didn't show me anything. So, obviously, I call my fiance, I call my soon-to-be father-in-law, and I'm like, hey, I am stuck on the side of the road. My car broke down. Can you please come help me? So they go out, they come, they look at my car, and they're like, oh, it looks like maybe there's just some bad gas or maybe some bad ignition coils in your engine. So, like, we'll try putting in some, like, premium gas to try and, like, burn off the bad stuff, because I did just fill up my tank, like, maybe 3 days before that. Like, okay, like, we're just gonna, take it easy, go to the nearest gas station, top off the rest of the tank with, like, some premium gas or whatever to burn off the bad stuff, and, maybe that'll fix it. So we do that. Doesn't work. So then we're like, okay, well, obviously it's something with the engine, and the way that the car was, like, shaking and, like, making noise, it did sound like an engine issue. And it was an engine issue. It was the ignition coils and spark plugs. So we went and we take it to a mechanic, and I'm like, hey, like, I just think that the ignition coils and the spark plugs need to be changed. Here's what's happening. Here are the noises, whatever. And the mechanic's like, okay, cool, like, we'll take a look at it. We'll go ahead and run some, like, diagnostic tests on it to, like, see if there's anything else wrong with it. And then we'll, like, let you know how much it's going to be. And I'm like, okay, cool, sounds good. I go ahead because maybe, like, a month or two before that, I, like, was on the highway and I ended up hitting a pothole on my back passenger tire. And it kind of, like, bent the wheel frame, essentially, a little bit. And so my, back passenger wheel was, like, cambered a little bit. So instead of it being straight up and down, it was, like, ever so slightly, like, tilted back. Like, not a whole lot. But, you don't want that because it'll wear out your tire. So I tell them, like, hey, while you guys are looking at my engine, because I've been meaning to bring this to someone anyways, would you mind looking at this back tire to see if we could also fix the, the frame or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I'll take a look. Don't worry about it. So I drop it off. I go back home, whatever. I'm waiting for the phone call for them to call me, and they finally do. And they say, all right, you're not going to like what we have to say about your car. And I wasn't really worried about, like, getting scammed or anything like that, because this mechanic is very reputable, and honestly, he's so good at his job. So, like, I was like, okay, well, obviously, like, there's something seriously wrong with my car, because, why else would they say that? They essentially tell me that my car was a death sentence on wheels. They didn't even want to give the car back to me because it was so dangerous to drive. And apparently there was so many things wrong with it, it would have taken them hours to, like, write down a list of everything wrong with it. I had only just purchased this car not even 2 years ago. I bought it through a company, which I don't want to say the name, but you're going to know who it is. Basically, you buy the car online, they drive the car to you, they drop off your new car. If you're doing a trade-in, they pick up your old car and they take it from them. We all know who that is. Don't buy your car through them. It rhymes with Schmarmana. We know who it is. So anyway, I got my car through Schmarmana. Before I bought this car, my car was a Jeep. Before I bought this Jeep Patriot, which I loved this car. I loved this car, and I'm so sad that I don't have it anymore. Before I officially purchased it or had them deliver it to my house, I asked them, hey, could I have someone inspect the vehicle, just to make sure that everything's in good standing, like I don't need to replace anything, tires are good, whatnot. And they're like, of course. So they inspected it, and they told me that everything was all fine and dandy. There was nothing wrong with the car. Everything was in good condition. I honestly probably shouldn't have just trusted Schmarmana like that, and I should have probably taken it to another mechanic to get inspected. But, I, in my mind, was like, why would they lie to me about the quality of this car? I mean, they're trying to sell me the car. Nothing's going to be wrong with it. I was wrong. I basically tell the mechanic this. I'm like, I just got this car. I mean, not just got it, but I haven't even had this car for 2 years. How is there so many issues with it? You know, I had the car inspected before I fully purchased the car and did my trade-in for my old vehicle. You know, what exactly is wrong with it? Blah, blah, blah. My mechanic tells me that the state of my car underneath it, like where the like bottom frame is, like the axles and everything, they said that there is so much damage underneath there. It's basically like years worth of damage, and I shouldn't have even been sold the car. Basically, the ball bearings are like basically disintegrated. They said that at any moment, like the tires could like just pop off because the ball bearings are like so bad underneath there. Crack in the oil tank, so like there's like a random oil leak that's happening from somewhere that they couldn't find. My belts and my engine were basically disintegrated and were like, they're like close to like snapping basically. And the tires were pretty much super bald on the inside. Like they said that I shouldn't have even been sold those tires with the car, because I was told whenever I bought the car from Schmarmana that they put brand new tires on it. The tires would last for at least 4 years. You know, everything was in good standing. You know, there wasn't anything seriously wrong with the car. Should be all fine and dandy, whatnot. You know, they sold me the car. I'm like bewildered at this news, because obviously I was just expecting to just like spend a little bit of money to get my ignition coils and spark plugs replaced, because that also, there was that was wrong with it as well. But that, you know, was just because that was just a normal car problem. That wasn't because of anything that Schmarmana did. And I already know that the back tire was my fault, so that I knew I was going to have to pay for, obviously, because that was something that I did, not Schmarmana. I'm like completely bewildered, and they pretty much tell me that this car would not be worth fixing. It would just be better to pay off the rest of my car loan and junk the car, essentially. Now, the rest of the money that I had on my car loan was like over $5,000, which, you know, was almost paid off. But to be honest, I didn't have $5,000 extra dollars to just pay off the rest of my car and then get a brand new car. So I was stressing about that now too. Also, on top of this, like right before this happened, I've been working really hard to pay off my debt, and I have been working really hard to build up my credit score, and I had just gotten my credit score like really high, like back up to where I really wanted it to be. And I think like 2 days before all this car stuff happened, I got hit with like a random collection from a cell phone service that I no longer used, and whenever I closed my account, they told me that I didn't have any outstanding balances, and I guess they missed one. So I had a $156 bill go to collections, and it dropped my score by like 45 points. So not only was I already worried about the wedding stuff, which I know I've gotten it all fixed, but you know, residual stress about it was still happening. I figured that out. I got sick for 2 weeks. I had this thing hit my collections, and my credit score went down by like 40 points. And now I don't have a freaking car. Again, we're only just barely into February of this year. So of course, naturally, I had a little mental breakdown. I'm like crying. I don't know what to do. Thankfully, my soon-to-be father-in-law, you know, offered to help me, and he's a brilliant person, and I love him to death. He said that he was willing to help me, you know, figure all this out. So, you know, he was like helping me look for like car options, things like that. We got it all figured out. I ended up getting a new vehicle. You know, I've been paying off the rest of my car loan on my Jeep. We actually got some new parts, and we've been fixing up my Jeep so we can sell it. And obviously we're going to like tell people who are interested in buying it, you know, about the ball bearings on the bottom. But everything else, like, we're fixing. Like, we've replaced the engine belts, the ignition coils, and spark plugs. We fixed the bent tire on the back. We replaced the tires. So, you know, like, he's helping me do that kind of stuff. So we got that taken care of. You know, that's something I'm still working on. But now I at least have a vehicle. I was able to find a truck, pretty good truck. There was this company that was selling their used work trucks that they weren't planning on using anymore. They were just going to sell them wholesale. Me and my soon-to-be father-in-law happened to just ask if they were, you know, willing to sell individually to someone, and they happened to say yes. So we he helped me like figure out the like paperwork and stuff, and we essentially like, you know, bought this new truck. Like I bought the new truck. I bought it for like $6,000 something, which wasn't bad. I'm doing a payment plan on that now too. And you know, everything is like falling into place and I'm figuring it out. He's willing to help me to also figure out how to sell my Jeep. So once we finish fixing everything up and once I get my title, like once I pay off the rest of my Jeep loan or whatever, we're gonna post it up for sale. Hopefully I'll be able to sell it for a good amount, and then I'll be able to pay off the rest of, you know, that payment plan or whatever for the new truck that I have. And then that'll be taken care of. So that was another thing that was happening. So with everything that happened with the car, I actually had a trip planned for me and Pay to celebrate Valentine's Day at this casino resort. It's like a 21 plus only resort place that we've never been to. It sounded cool and I was really excited to go. I had the trip planned since November. I had been saving a lot of money for that trip. Not that it was going to be like overly expensive or anything, but you know, like it was going to be our last Valentine's Day as fiancés, and I wanted to, you know, make it special or whatever. So I saved up quite a bit of money. I, of course, was like devastated because I had to cancel that trip because I had to use that money towards the money that I used to buy the truck. And, you know, obviously had to use that money to register this truck in my name. And then I was able to kind of like dispute that collection charge on my credit account. And I think it worked because my score like went back up to where it was, but the collection didn't disappear from my account. So I'm kind of just like waiting to see like what's going to happen with that. But then we were fine after that. Like we were fine for like a week or two. Now we're like treading into like the beginning of March. And I don't know what I caught. I don't know if it was the flu or if it was, you know, some sort of cold or what. I got so sick, more sick than I did in January. In January, like that basically was like allergies compared to like what I got sick with. And I actually still have a residual cough from it now. I got so sick. I had to miss like a whole other week of work. But this time, I cannot remember being this sick. Like, I think the last time I was this sick, it was maybe, like, whenever I was 17, 18, something like that. Basically, like I said, I don't know what it was. I didn't want to go to the doctor just because, you know, I'm still, like, dealing with, like, a whole bunch of other shit right now financially. But, you know, I was treating myself at home. But I had a fever for 3 days. I can't remember the last time I've had a fever for that long. I was coughing so much I lost my voice. Like I said, I even still have a residual cough. Like I don't have a fever or anything anymore. I haven't been sick for like a week now. But I still have like a slight like residual cough that I'm dealing with. I was taking Dayquil, Tylenol, Advil, Mucinex, basically like a whole pharmacy trying to get myself better. And eventually it worked. After like 4 or 5 days, I finally, got better. But still, it's like the middle of March now. It's March 16th. We're barely into 2025. And I've had to deal with so much shit. And I've cried so much this year already just because I've been so stressed and overwhelmed with a lot of things. I know it can't be helped. I know it's just life. But, like, so far I feel like I just haven't had a fucking break. I've also had some crazy shit happen at work that I don't think I'll be able to talk about because it's so specific to work. Even with all the crazy bad stuff that's happened so far this year, there's also been good. Obviously, I've been working on my crochet skills. I'm very proud of myself with the progress that I've made on that. I've been progressing at work, so that's also been good. We also have, like I said, we have our new little man in our little family stash. I'm getting married soon, so that's exciting. And, I'm just trying to keep my head up. Even though it has been a tough year already so far, I am still trying to keep my head up. Oh, I also cut my hair. That's also something that I did. It's a mess right now. I'll show you guys it in the next video. Just like the sides are shaved. That was something I don't think I mentioned. I might have mentioned it in a previous video. But my very first video that I filmed for this channel, that was the day right before I got COVID. And I don't know if anyone else knows this, but one of the new symptoms for long COVID is hair loss. So towards the end of last year, whenever I wasn't really making videos, I started losing my hair really bad because I was growing it out for the wedding. And I decided to go to a hair salon and, do a pixie cut because I used to have a pixie cut years ago and it's just been a long time. And I decided to just get a pixie cut again. And I told them, like, oh, I don't know why my hair is falling out. Like, it's, coming out in clumps or whatever. And they told me that one of the new side effects of long COVID is hair loss. So I decided to do that. I decided to just do a pixie cut, fuck it, whatever, let's just do it. But then, because, I started going through all this other shit, like, towards the end of the last year and the beginning of this year, I decided to, like, go back to an old hairstyle that I used to have a while ago. And it's where both sides are shaved. Like, my hair's a mess, I don't really want to show you right now, but, like, the sides are shaved here, it's shaved here, and then the middle part has, like, the hair, and it, like, goes down to, like, the back of my head. So I kind of have, like, a little, like, faux hawk thing going on. It looks really cute. I also just, like, really like how my, like, head looks in beanies right now when my hair is this short, because I like the shaved sides, but whatever. I just miss making these little videos for fun. That's basically all the updates I have for right now. I really just wanted to talk about all the crazy shit that I've been up to at the beginning of this year. Some other small things that have happened is my body, I guess now that I'm turning 26 this year, just, like, isn't happy with anything anymore. I can no longer tolerate gluten, so that has been a new adjustment. I have to pretty much be gluten-free now because if I eat gluten, I swell up like I'm 8 months pregnant and my stomach hurts. I also have had to get rid of so many body piercings because my body has just decided I don't really like this anymore. So that's actually why I have these little horseshoe piercings in my stretched ears now, because my ears started to get angry at my metal and wooden plugs. So I'm letting them shrink, and I didn't want to just have them bare naked, so I put these little thick horseshoes in there while I'm letting them shrink. Which I actually kind of like. It looks kind of cute. But same thing with, like, some other piercings. Like, I had a couple of ear piercings I had to take out. I did have these pierced that I had to take the piercings out because my body just wasn't having it anymore. I actually did take out my septum ring as well because my body just said no thank you. But I decided to just stick my septum ring back in there because I missed it. And it actually was fine after that. So that's why I'm able to still keep that one. But yeah, it's crazy. Same thing with my tongue. Like, my tongue was pierced in my last video and I had to take it out because my body was just like, no thank you. Yeah, I know that this video was kind of, like, all over the place. Honestly, the updates that I've had were all over the place, so I am sorry about that. A lot has happened. I do have quite a few videos planned for this upcoming week, though. I want to try and upload this video tomorrow, so on Monday. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. We actually are going to have a couple of friends come over for, like, a St. Patrick's Day game night, so I want to try and vlog that as well. We were going to go bar hopping, but it's supposed to thunderstorm tomorrow, like, in the area that we wanted to go bar hopping for St. Patrick's Day, so we're not going to do that anymore. So instead we're going to do the game night. Honestly, that should be a lot of fun. I think it'll be very enjoyable, so I'm going to try and film that. And then I also am planning on doing a vegetarian food review at some point this week, and then another chat and craft where I want to work on this adorable granny square pattern I saw. There's, like, a little skull in the middle, and then you can do, like, a color on the edge. I really, really want to, like, perfect that granny square pattern because I would love to make a cardigan out of it. Like, out of all the granny squares, so we're gonna try and do that together too, so I think that would be a lot of fun. So I know this video was kind of everywhere. I am sorry that I haven't filmed in a while. I just have been through the ringer lately. But yeah, so I am gonna try and jump back into having a normal posting schedule. We're gonna kind of just see where everything ends up. I just wanted to do these again for fun because I miss doing it. But thanks for sticking around, and thanks for watching and coming back to my channel, even though I was gone for so long. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully that will be posted by Tuesday. Like I said, I want to post this one by tomorrow, which is Monday. And then hopefully the video that I filmed tomorrow will be posted on Tuesday. So that will be the plan. we'll see if that actually happens. Thanks so much for sticking around. I can't wait to see you in the next video, and hopefully that will be on Tuesday. And if I don't post on Tuesday, then you have every right to yell at me and call the police. See you guys next time. Bye.